Hello, hello. Welcome to another week of Foreign Takes. I'm your host YT with KG and Big Lev. The whole crew is here today. Boys, how's your weeks?
Interesting, man. A little disappointing today. We had them by the balls. We had them by the balls, and probably a lot of missed chances. And also Liverpool City was on, so we can talk about that as well.
We might as well just jump right into it. So, of course, the biggest game of this weekend was Liverpool v City, Pep v Jurgen Klopp for the last time in the Premier League. 1-1 game. Big Lev, overall thoughts? Was it a fair result? Not fair result?
No,
Acceptable?
unfair result, man. There's the last Doku's kick that should have been a pen. Okay, fucking City got away with it. Ederson got away with just the yellow card. They got away with that penalty. They were dicks all game long. Walker should have probably been sent off. It's just annoying, okay? And I don't know what the fuck Luis Diaz was doing today, but he couldn't. He wasted two golden opportunities at least. So we should have easily been 3-1 up. I think Klopp made an amazing tactical adjustment in the second half where people started kind of collapsing a little more and pressing. And for about 20 minutes there, City were on the ropes, man, after our goal.
With regards to Luis Diaz, I think it was just his finishing that was missing today because his
Yeah.
work rate, his just like his ability to contribute to the team is unbelievable, right? I feel like today it was just the finishing. Had he finished one of those, we would have been talking about a man of the match performance, a 10 out of 10 performance, right?
Yeah, no, he was a handful, man. Remember, I texted you guys. Him and Nunez, the first half, they could not be contained, and then we definitely, if Salah started that game, would have won because Elliott was very lost on that right wing. He was there. He was helping out Connor Bradley, but I feel Connor Bradley could hold it down on his own, especially before Doku came on. He was tested a little bit, but he could hold it down on his own. But Elliott was just really missing on a final third.
That's true. I mean, especially considering all the injuries. KG, I think you were probably the only neutral with regards to this game. Did you think it was a fair result?
I think it wasn't a fair result. I think City should have been down and out just by the way the game went. I know Doku had off the post and I know this and that, but what it showed is that I was telling all of you when you were discussing, oh, City's going to go on a 15-game winning run, blah, 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 blah. I was telling all of you that they look weak. They have thin-veiled confidence. And that's exactly what was shown today. As soon as they made one mistake, Liverpool smelled it just like sharks and blood in the water. That's exactly what Liverpool felt. And the confidence of City went out the door. Except the only person who was confident on the field was Kevin De Bruyne, and he was substituted by Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put Kovacic on. We're gonna bury down the hatchet, sit back, and hopefully Doku's gonna run at Robertson, who's not that fresh yet, and does something." The only thing that I have to say out of all of this is that I cannot understand how Nathan Ake is starting left back for one of the allegedly greatest teams in Premier League history. Nathan Ake should not be anywhere near a top 16. He should be whatever he was. He's not a left back, and Pep's this genius approach to football is like, oh, I can play a fucking center back in the goalkeeper position. Should be stopped. It should be stopped because Nathan Ake, he doesn't deserve to be in that position. I read some comments and I read some analysis of praising his evolution as a player and his positioning, essentially going from like he didn't make it in the cut in Chelsea, he wasn't as good as in Aston Villa, but at City he's just like a gem, and like Pep was able to open him up and he became this amazing player. I don't think that's the case. I think he looks better because he's in a better team. And the fact that Ruben Diaz is on a bench and Akanji's playing, like, what are you doing, man? Like, I
Yeah.
wish Liverpool punished them, but they didn't. And Pep Guardiola got away with his fraudery one more time.
That's
Man,
true.
and he threw in a towel on the
Yeah,
69th minute. He substituted
De
KDB
Bruyne.
out and just brought in Kovacic, who didn't do shit.
Which is
And they did have
understandable, right? Like you're at away to Liverpool, Klopp's last game against you, the big rivalry. It
No,
does
I
make
don't.
no,
sense in
no.
some
Like
ways.
I don't
Liverpool
agree.
have probably like half of the starting 11 is injured.
Exactly.
Okay, take advantage, man. Bring the
Yeah.
heat. We didn't have our first choice center back. We didn't have our first choice left back. We didn't have, well, our first choice right back, even though I think the right back that's playing now is better at defending. We
Yeah,
didn't have the Salah, right
Goalie.
winger. Yeah. Jota probably would have started ahead of Elliott or ahead of, like, he would have played. So your city, man, you have unlimited resources. Go for it.
yeah, no, 100% I agree with you. You go for it, especially when the team is bleeding. You go for it. And I told before this game when we made the prediction, I said that City's gonna have the bench to rely on, and they did. They had a better bench. They could have done something else differently, but I mean, you could say he got scared because Ederson got an injury and he had to put Ortega on, but that's all like relatively. Like he played for the result, and I get it. Like that's what you have to do, but it's not the same Liverpool. You should have went out and got the win, especially since now it's more between Arsenal and Liverpool rather than City. City's catching up. But what it says to me is that he's probably thinking that I can beat Arsenal an empty hat. He was I'd rather take a draw here and beat because I can deal with Arsenal and go up top. That's what he's thinking. I believe so.
Interesting. As far as like the rest of the neutrals and the PL is concerned, though, overall, this was a good result, right? It keeps the title race down to one single point between the three top teams. I can't even remember the last time we saw a three-way title race this close, this late in the year, right? At least it keeps it interesting for yet another week.
2014 when Jose Mourinho was at Chelsea, probably something like that. 2013.
Which is crazy, right? We
No,
haven't
no,
seen
not
a
even
three-way
2013.
race.
Not even 2013. 2013 was when United was winning it. Probably 2010, 2009. That's when it was. Like
It's
that period,
fantastic.
2011. Yeah. So
Long
for a
may it
long time.
continue, right? Like for
Yeah.
everyone, really, like for the benefit of competitiveness and the PL, like long may this continue.
May City be substituted with United. Amen.
I think that's probably just a good time to transition to what I would probably describe as the most boring game of the weekend, which was United 2, Everton 0. KJ, what do you even say to this game?
Boring. I'm so frustrated that I woke up at 7 a.m. to watch this shit. That's what I have to say. Like there was nothing in this game. It's set after post factum. It made a lot of points. Let's say that United. How can you concede this much shots from a dead Everton? Just explains that the team is basically set up incorrectly. Like from a tactical point of view, it's not about players. It's about you're tactically setting up the team for failure. And looking at Liverpool, you can say like how many injuries do they have, and Klopp trusts in the young people, and he plays young people in the positions that they're supposed to be playing in. How many times do you have to say that Lindelof on the left doesn't work, McTominay up top doesn't work as well? The only reason why United won is because they had Garnacho and Fernandez, who are just a class above, miles ahead, better than wherever or whoever was on Everton's pitch. And I'm just surprised that they didn't concede a goal. That's it.
It was
But
shocking, honestly. I think you and I were texting, but because
yeah,
Everton's lack of quality was, but United were getting sliced apart. It was just frustrating to watch. And of course, I don't even support them, but just looked tactically inept.
no, they're tactically inept. Exactly what it is. It's just like you set up to failure. Casemiro can't work with Mino, or he doesn't want to work with Mino, or they're pushing against the tide essentially. We're going to be talking about the Europa League results, and I'll tell you what tactically I expect from a team because it was so evident in the game between Bayern Leverkusen and Karabakh. That doesn't even it's not even close to Man United or where they are in terms of what they want to play. But the most stupid thing is that it's not three things at the same time can be correct. The manager can set the team up wrong, the team can be run incorrectly, and the players may be shit. Like all of those three things can be together well, and it can result. It can happen together, and it can result in a frustrating thing. And it's evident because they asked Ten Hag before the game, like, why don't you have a left back? And he said, oh, I was told that Tyler Malacia is going to return soon. Shaw was okay. So I was like, why do I keep Regulion? And Malacia is apparently dead now. he's not. He's nowhere near close. Or like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. One of my favorite conspiracy theories is that he snitched on Quincy Promise and he's in witness protection. That's my favorite conspiracy theory. Then he can't play anymore. But yeah, he doesn't have a left back because there's mismanagement. And from the interview with Ole, that I don't know if you've seen, he gave to Overlap. He said essentially players would stop running. Players would stop believing. Like, no other team does that because they have so much power and so much money that they earn that they can stop running if they don't feel like, oh, I'm not getting the Champions League bonus either way, or it seems like a too much of a ask. So I'll stop running. Why would I run? And there are characters like that in the team. So a lot of work needs to be done, and it's not only down to the manager, but the manager has flaws in them as well.
That's true. Watching that game, what it reminded me of is those dead rubber games with like 2 or 3 games left at the end of the season, where you're like in the finish 11th. There's no way for you to go up, no way for you to go down, and you watch those games that are typically in like late April that are completely useless. But the difference here is United should be fighting for Champions League spot, but that's the feeling I was getting from the fans from the game. It was truly terrible to watch.
I think if there's a chance that United come together and they're gonna maybe go on a similar run to what Liverpool did towards the end of last year, but it's just gonna be short of where, because I think Villa and Tottenham are gonna slowly start decomposing because Tottenham's playing against everyone who's contending for the title from now on, and Aston Villa is also, we've seen they tried to
Decomposing,
make.
man. Strong
Uh,
words over there. Fucking
I mean, they're beating Aston Villa 4-0 with 10 men, and they're thinking they're doing something without European League.
yeah.
Tottenham next year are going to finish sixth. They're not, because as soon as they get Champions League football, that team's not going to be able to do anything. I'm sorry, they're overachieving now. It's going to be similar to what United is. We might as well talk about Tottenham Aston Villa as well. What did you think of that game,
I mean,
YT?
it was what Villa at home losing 4-0. I have to say, McGinn was terrible brain dead decision making for the red card. I see what he was trying to do. He was trying to get the crowd riled up because they were down, but really the game fell in place for Spurs because Spurs want to counter. Everyone knows this. That's what they desire to do. As soon as that first goal that they scored went in, which was a brilliant cross by Papisar, who at 21 years old looks like one of the best midfielders. Really, he's like absolutely stunning. I knew the game was done because Villa liked to push, Spurs liked to counter. They were going to push. They got done 3 more times. I have to say, looking at them, the high line that they both play is so suicidal. I don't understand why both teams choose to do it, especially against each other. It was like a mirror of two teams just happened
Yeah.
to fall in place. But I think Villa, Emery's refusal to adjust is going to punish them in the long term. They're obviously amazing to watch, but for every 4 wins that they have, then they lose the fifth one by 4 goals. And then the Spurs do the same thing. It works until it doesn't, and then you get destroyed in those games because you just keep doing. So I think it's fun for them now, but I think teams are going to start adjusting next season. It always happens, the second season syndrome is like you have a new style, new coach, new manager, you come from the championship. So I think this season they'll probably finish fourth, fifth, sixth, somewhere in that range. But next season, I think they're going to be caught out. In all honesty,
Yeah, I think they're going for the Conference League now. They're playing against Ajax. They drew the first leg away, and Ajax is not all
Yeah.
flowers this season. They're shit. So they're gonna go through, and they're probably the toughest team that there is there in the Conference League, apart from Fiorentina. They're probably gonna win a title. It's gonna be similar to what David Moyes is at West Ham. Their lowly result today versus Bournemouth, which finished 2-2. Danny Ings scored for the first time in a year. Saved Moyes' asses. But I mean,
Moist.
the Moise, the argument that is there, and this is the question that we posed before on our pod, but then again, I just wanted to ask it again. The West Ham base is pretty much sliced in half fan base. There are fans who are match going fans who are more loyal, and they're going like, "This is what we are. This is what we are located. This is essentially us. We don't strive to do anything more than this. We want a European title for the first time in fuck knows when. Moyes is a genius, build him a statue." And then there's the other half that goes, we should be more attacking. This is a disgrace. Moyes should be gone. The football that he plays is just annoying. What's your take on this debate? What side would you be
Well,
leaning towards?
I think they're not doing bad. They're seventh in the league. Maybe they're not playing as well as the fans want, but my question would be then, if you let Moisey go, who is there to replace him? And this year, a lot of top teams need managers. Like Klopp is retiring for a year, whatever he's doing. So Liverpool needs someone new. Probably Chelsea will need someone new because Poch will be out. Possibly Ten Hag is out.
There's also
Um,
Bayern and Barcelona.
Bayern needs someone. Barcelona needs someone.
Napoli
Uh,
will need someone.
Napoli needs someone. So do you get one of those? Do you get like? Do you try to go after Ten Hag or something, or like because there's not right now. It's not an abundance of great managers, so you have to go and try to find like a diamond in the rough again.
It's going to be a gamble. Again, it's going to
Yeah.
be a gamble. But I think the problem with what their fans are seeing is that the game on the pitch is not even good. Like, even if the results are, they're
Yeah.
I would say they stumbled into the seventh position. If Newcastle didn't have injuries, if Chelsea were
Hmm.
not idiots, they probably would be 10th or 11th, and that would be probably an underperformance. Although you cannot say it's underperformance because last season they barely escaped. So again, like I don't. They're, it's a very difficult thing to say. It's just week in and week out. I mean, you can't draw with Burnley, okay? Like you just can't at home against Bold Fraud 3.0. You can't, especially
Old
hoping
Fraud
that Danny.
3.0.
Yeah, so I don't
But
know.
who's 2.0? Ten Hag?
Yeah,
Ah, bro,
The
here's
generations.
here's the thing. What I do understand from West Ham fans is I think they're concerned that next year Moyes is gonna try doing. You know how this year he wanted like Maguire and McTominay instead of Mohamed Kudus and who else
please
they
again,
picked? They picked up someone like really good too, and he just
Alvarez.
couldn't get his way. Alvarez, yeah. What if next year he gets his way and picks up like Maguire or like Johnny Evans or
KT.
some shit
No, no,
instead of
no,
actual?
no,
Okay.
no shade on Johnny Evans. Johnny, if
Uh,
we had not Johnny Evans, we would have
okay, but he's
McTominay
like
in the center of the
37,
bench.
man. He's about to die right
Give him
there.
his flowers. Give him his
Yeah.
flowers, man. He's so good. He was so good against the
He
Everton game.
is. He is.
Sure, but this
Until
is
until he gets tired in 55th minute.
but this is where the benefit of West Ham structure is, right? It's like the sporting director said no to Moyes and
Yeah.
like basically denied him his team, and now look at the benefit. So whether Moyes leaves or not, in my opinion, I think like they have a better structure. So the next person
Yeah.
coming in,
Yeah.
at least they can maintain the quality of players.
I
Um,
think what's cool is we are seeing more now, or maybe it was you could say it before, but for me, this couple of years has been really evident why like an important sporting structure, how important sporting structure is. Because Brighton, same, De Zerbi gets a lot of plaudits, but I think it's really the structure they have set up there, where they're recruiting, they're scouting, they're negotiating. It's all like top level. So without dessert, like they wouldn't miss a beat. I think.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Same with the which is really annoys me. City, their like setup is amazing too, man.
Yep.
So I'm afraid even with the bold fraud gun, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I think
So
the
West
counter
Ham
to
same.
that is Chelsea didn't have a good
Yeah,
structure. They're
absolute
disaster.
shambles.
United no structure, disaster. It's like all the teams without the structure. It's almost like you should probably see where
Yeah,
the successes
if you
are.
if you look at the structures, like especially with the United one, why I'm still keep referring to the Ole interview, he basically said what the structure was. The structure was they had scouts that had there a bunch of scouts that did meticulous analysis on each player. So he says there wasn't a single player who they didn't have a folder on. It's basically like CIA, KGB level fucking analysis of of players, where they would like, oh, I know this guy, and pull out a folder, and then like they would discuss, and then they would be like this basically consultants to the owners, and then the manager would say, I want this guy. The scouts who were from different areas, from different eras of like Mourinho, Ferguson, Moyes, Van Gaal, who have completely different understanding of football, would say, no, I don't think he's good, or yes, we think he's good. And then they could put a veto, and all they could put a veto, and then the owners can put a veto, and then they would make these decisions like a triangle, difficult, too much of a time. There's no structure. The structure was that he came in and said, I wanted Bellingham and I wanted Erling Haaland, and they didn't want to pay money, essentially. They didn't trust in
Crazy,
him. Stupid.
crazy.
But there's
Yeah,
no structure because that's usually the manager can come in and say, I want this guy. And they can say, yes, he fits into our system, but he's over our budget. Like it should be two people talking, not three. And the two people is like the scouts are fed into that system where it's like that at Liverpool, it's like that at Brighton. There is an overarching theme and then what the manager wants. And
yeah.
they find an understanding. But in United, it was
But
different, and in Chelsea, it's
even
different.
at Liverpool, you could have seen in this summer where their sporting director was temporary for just for 1 year, and the summer transfer window like was shambles.
Yeah.
Like the result worked out, but the failed pursuit of Lavia, the Caicedo bit, like it was not well organized because the structure that we had, some guys left, and we didn't really put in long term in place. So now for this summer, it's super important that we get a really good sporting director. Yeah,
They're looking to get that Edwards, right? The back.
Yeah.
I think they're
he
getting
no
Martin
he
Edwards back.
doesn't want to come back.
He does. But this is where at least you see that the benefit is the owners clearly understand they need a good
Mhm.
structure, so they're pushing now and not waiting till the summer starts because they, the director needs to come in and then start the search for the manager and so on. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, you see the difference in owners who actually understand how to succeed versus, I guess, the Glazers really, and
Yeah, I mean
Todd
the
Bowley.
Glazers didn't care, bro. They only care
Yeah.
for the badge that sells them, brings them money, and they're happy with it.
I think let's just quickly touch on the last game in the Premier League, which of course was top of the league, top of the league. Arsenal 2, Brentford 1. Um, of
You
course,
guys
I
were
think KG, you
close
not.
to throwing it all the way.
Hey, 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again. Let's see.
Oh
So
my
I think
god.
KG, you and I
Jesus
were
Christ!
texting, but
Like it's very hard to like support Arsenal,
why?
even though I want the club to win. Their fans are just so annoying.
No,
Yeah, the
you
fans
can't
are
say
very
that.
annoying.
Yeah.
The fans are very
I
annoying.
will agree. There is definitely a. I call them the negative Nancy's. Honestly, there's like a section of Arsenal fans, and this has happened since pre Wenger. Honestly, is like they are looking for a
ACTV.
reason. Yeah, it is really. They're looking for something to go wrong, so that they can talk about it and say how shitty instead of just saying, "Let's enjoy it, let's support the club." But
It's
Mm.
basically Mark Goldbridge and AFC TV, those type of guys.
exactly, they're
Did you
all
know?
looking for it.
Did you know that? Sorry to digress. I don't know if you read this news, but like apparently Hoyun got shit from his teammates because he went on an interview with Mark Goldbridge, and he didn't know. But apparently the teammates were like, "Why are you going to this negative channel?" And there's like a section of people who are against those fans within the fan base. I'm sure Arsenal has the same thing. There are competent, normal fan bases and fan TV channels, and then there's AFC TV. Who's that guy who thinks that?
I don't want to say his name. I don't want.
Yeah.
And you're right, by the way, because Aubameyang did that before he got booted out.
Yeah.
While they were causing all the chaos, he went and like was talking to them, friends, interviewed. Oh, surprise! We got rid of him, and now things have like settled. Um,
Yeah.
I think you and I were watching the game, KG, because we were texting. You have to admit it was a deserved win, right? Like Brentford's time wasting and all their shenanigans came back to bite them at the end of the day.
Brentford always does that. I don't. Thing is, it was a win because Arsenal was at home and the fans were there. Blah 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 blah. But it wasn't as dominant as Liverpool, for example, today was. It wasn't chance after chance, and you can feel the goal coming. The goal just came in. I know you like Kai Havertz, but he scores goals basically like a Peter Crouch. That's what he is essentially for Arsenal. I'm sorry, he's Peter Crouch. It's a cross and he heads it in.
Yeah.
If he's marked properly, he's not gonna score a goal. He doesn't. It's like, and I know you need that when you're going for a title. It's just I'm saying, come on, 60 million for Peter Crouch, seriously.
See,
Liverpool was ridiculed for Andy Carroll, and what?
this is
What?
where I disagree, and this is where I think Havertz is incredibly misunderstood because I agree with
Oh,
you. Let me explain. I think
he's
people don't.
misunderstood. Oh
Yeah,
no,
You
Van
know,
Gogh of his era.
it's because people see.
misunderstood poet over here.
No, no. It's because people don't see like Havertz's work rate. Like he is doing things that are not like obvious to the typical fan, and especially for me because I see them week in week out. He's making these runs, going to channels, all this extra hard work that you don't necessarily appreciate because you see him missing a one-on-one, and then say, "Oh, he's a terrible striker." I'm like, but
So
that's
you
not his
mean,
role.
so you mean a proper striker could do the same things if he was a proper
Yeah,
striker? 60 million was spent on, for example,
bro.
Holland. That would have been
He,
a better signing than Kai
so
Havertz. Would you
you're
agree?
saying he's a discount Firmino,
Yeah.
basically?
Wow,
Exactly.
the hate.
Yeah, he's
No,
a
but the
fucking.
difference is, you see, Bobby. I love Bobby, right? But Bobby had to play in one position. He had to play in the 9 position, where he'd really drop into the 10, and then he enables the 2 wingers at the time. I don't even want to call them wingers; they were forwards, right? Salah and Mane. And that's the thing with Havertz is like when he's playing a 9, he's bringing everyone else in. When he's playing the 8, he does something. So I think people like to shit on him, but as far as Arsenal is concerned, he's been a success. You
He
can't shit on him.
scored. He
Man,
scored the
I
winning
wish
goal.
someone in my life would stand up for me as much Arsenal fans stand up for Kai Havertz.
I
Yeah.
think we're also as small. I think that only like 70% would stand up for him, because not those remaining idiots
Yeah,
30%.
but the question is for you. Then you are the one who magically said that. How many times can Liverpool win like this at the dead? at the end of the game is going to catch up to them. They're going to end up in draws. That's what Arsenal are doing in the
No,
recent
no,
games.
no.
So how
I
do you feel
disagree.
about that?
No, no. I think if you look since Christmas, sorry, since the new year has started, our last 8 games, we won the first 7 by at least 4 goals. Right. It's only now the eighth game that it took us a last minute winner. So I think I would have agreed with you if since Christmas we had been losing these games or winning them just in the 90th minute. But I think we're fine, in all honesty.
No, the question that I didn't phrase the question probably correctly. I wanted to say that now, since I think the steam is of this 4-0s, 5-0s, and the run of games that were, let's be honest, a bit easy. Sheffield United away, West Ham was David Moyes, who doesn't know where he is. He's gone. Now we're playing against City. Now we're playing against Liverpool, and that's going to be tight. That
Yes.
I think is, and I think the steam of goals and creativity is a bit running out. I think you had your party moments, and now it seems like it's Arsenal are not as confident because of like this game showed me like as City they bleed. That's what it showed me like they're wobbling. Or
Maybe.
do you feel
I think I
confident
would give
going
you
into the
the
game to City?
yes, absolutely. I do feel confident. And I think I'll give you the alternative perspective is that whether we score 5 goals in the first half or we need to score in the 85th minute, we're finding ways to win. I think is the alternate perspective. So yeah, uh, to be honest, us going to empty hand, I'm actually not that worried. As long as we have the players that we really need, which is our fast. Because what are they going to do? It's similar to
Famous last words. What are they gonna
they
do?
are. No, no. You know
What
what?
do you?
There's a difference between actually today was a good blueprint for how Arsenal is like Nunes and Diaz athleticism and pace was killing City, right? They were able to keep finding space and behind, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. Is City wants to push? We have Martinelli, we have Gabriel Jesus. So I think looking at the rest of the year, yeah, it would have been nice to have Mbappe up front or someone else like a quote unquote proper striker. But I am absolutely confident, and this is we've set ourselves up for success.
Yeah,
Nunes
yeah.
was born on
It would be.
strike
It
again.
would have been nice to have Mbappe sat the Arsenal fan and put on his Kai Havertz jersey.
Yeah, oh, it's just too easy. I think we should probably wrap up Premier League there. Just quickly, a Serie A, of course, Inter are marching on, so we won't talk about them. But the 2 other games that were relevant today were Juventus drew at home to Bologna 2-2.
Atalanta.
Sorry, excuse me, to Atalanta. And Milan beat Empoli 1-0. It actually means Milan moves above Juventus to the second spot by 1 point. Are Juventus beginning to crack?
Can't they sack Allegri now? I mean, we were saying that for a while now. Can't they already sack the terrorist guy? Like, I mean, they started scoring goals, but the results would dipped. They're just boring to watch. It's if Serie A was a little bit more competitive, they probably finished sixth. So, can they sack him at the end of the season, or they
I hope
probably won't?
so. They probably won't because they can't afford to sack him. But when you look at it, it's like he should have been far closer to Inter, or at least the fact that they got reeled in by Milan is a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. They were 6 points ahead of Milan,
Yeah,
and it's just embarrassing. Milan are doing well, but I think Milan's going to focus now on Europa League. And to be quite honest, the Europa League's playoffs look much more juicier than the Champions League playoffs. A bit,
Yeah,
just a bit
so
so
far, the
far.
Champions League playoffs are like,
And
that's probably a good time to transition. We might as well just talk about Europa League
uh,
and the results. So just quickly the interesting ones. Sporting drew 1-1 to Atalanta. That's kind of expected. Roma beat up. I shouldn't say beat. They spanked Brighton 4-0, which was a little bit expected or unexpected.
no, I expected,
unexpected.
man. I'm telling you, this De Zerbi guy, he's not as good as people say. First of all, what kind of name is De Zerbi? Are you some sort of Dutch zebra? No. Okay, they've not been good all year, so and I guess the surprising part is that Roma were good because they've been very
Yeah,
inconsistent.
Yeah, but
they
under
were.
De Rossi, they've
But
been pretty decent.
Lakaka scored.
Yeah, Lakaka. No, under the Rossi, as YT said, they were very decent, and under Mourinho, they weren't bad. They just sacked him because I don't know why. I don't know. I
Well,
don't still
because
understand.
they weren't good enough to justify his just dickish attitude to everyone.
And his salary.
It's and the salary. Yeah, it's bro. It's tiring when you have like that kind of negative person. I know it's like it's his way to like keep attention away from the team, but it works when he was at Chelsea and barely conceded a goal and had like record-breaking seasons. But when you're missing your mark, then it puts a target on your back. Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
over
but
though,
like
right?
it.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know what he's gonna do. He's
I
begging for a job. He was at
That's
the
true.
Anthony Joshua,
Uh,
I,
Francis Ngannou
he
fake
should
boxing fight, and he asked for. It's like I'm looking to start immediately. It's like when you get sacked of a job, you're like, I'm ready to go again.
but
Yeah,
he
the
should
tie is
become
over.
he should become Portuguese manager.
yeah.
I think
I mean,
that's
he is
Oh,
a
that's perfect
Portuguese
for him.
manager.
yeah. It'll be interesting. That's probably the only thing left at this. Oh, terrible! Oh my god, I just got that.
Even the Portugal manager. That's yes,
Yeah.
Uh,
of course.
but
Yeah.
the tie is over, right? Milan, sorry, Roma are not gonna get a
No.
4-goal
Yeah.
tie overturned.
To your original question, it's not unexpected that Roma beat Brighton. The more unexpected thing was it is 4-0.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
saying.
was the score.
But
The score was
it's
flattering.
over, right? The next game was Sparta Prague got destroyed at home, 5-1 by Liverpool. That's another game that's essentially over. Am I
Yeah,
right?
I mean
Yeah.
Liverpool was walking through that. I could have told you that in my sleep.
Bro.
Yeah,
Darwizi with 2 bangers.
Darwizi
Darwizi
can only score.
2024, bro.
He can only score bangers. He can't score like he's offside all the time. He's like he doesn't understand the concept of
Bro.
offside. He's always going early.
You'll have to crack a few eggs if you want to make an omelet, and you have to be offside a few times if you want to make those runs. That's
Oh
just how
my
life
goodness.
is.
The next game was Milan at home beat Slavia Prague 4-2. That's essentially over, I think, in my opinion.
Milan let them in. They were 10 men down. They let them into the game a bit too much, and I was like,
Bro.
not professional enough by Milan. But I mean, that game is probably over. They'll
Right.
probably get one, and then Milan will score two. And
Yeah.
Milan, like
And
I
then
don't know.
Slavia is going to try to push and then get hit on the counter by Liao and whoever they
Exactly.
decide on the right wing.
Exactly.
Yeah, bad week to be a Prague resident.
Yeah,
Both
that
of
is
their
true.
teams just got absolutely creamed.
Yeah, by fucking 9 goals. It's absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah.
The next game was Freiburg beat West Ham at home 1-0. West Ham did okay, but it's not an over game. It's like at West Ham at home will be a very interesting game with only 1 goal to overturn.
Do you
You
think
think
now they're gonna?
Moyes will go 2 for 2?
I think so. I think he'll at least get through the next round. He's definitely going to beat them.
You think they're gonna go through?
Yes.
No. What I asked is if he's gonna go 2 for 2, like he's gonna win Europa League as well.
No, are you kidding me? There's like Milan, Liverpool,
Why not?
Leverkusen.
I
Stranger
think
things have happened.
Liverpool. I think Liverpool and Milan are just much better than West Ham, really.
Don't you think
Well,
Leverkusen is better than?
yeah.
Oh, sorry. We'll get to the Leverkusen, but
Bro,
yeah.
Leverkusen couldn't even beat like fucking.
Wait,
Karabakh.
hold on. We'll get to that because I think I'm saving the best games for last to discuss. Then really quickly, Benfica Rangers 2-2, and then Marseille beat up Villarreal 4-0. So about half the ties are completed, and the other half aren't, as far as we're concerned. Right? No one's overturning a 4-goal deficit in the second half.
Yeah.
And of course,
Benfica Rangers was a good one.
Benfica Rangers was a good
Benfica-
one, and it'll be at Rangers the next leg. There's no away goal rules, so I think it's going to be one of the better games.
I didn't expect Rangers to put up a fight, and as soon as Benfica drew, I thought, oh, Rangers is gonna be a tough day at the office after that. But then they immediately scored before the end of the first half and conceded because later in the game.
Yeah.
Surprised. Good for Rangers. Rangers are not bad this season, even though they're not very good at financial management. But what you can see.
And then the last game, of course, was Karabakh against Leverkusen 2-2. KG, embarrassing. What a game, but also disaster results, right?
Disaster result. They should have killed them and they should have made it 3-0. They were so close to make it a 3-0. Juninho, who's the striker for Karabakh, was what a goal. What the second goal. That is like, I think Bayern Leverkusen, if they don't lose a single game, their haters should play that goal and be like, this is what you conceded, my friend. Because that goal is dirty. Dirty. That's like, you don't do that in pickup. Like you don't roll over the goalkeeper like that.
For anyone who hasn't watched it, you absolutely have to see a replay because, and not just the initial replay, see the alternate angles because he actually on purpose bounces the ball over the goalkeeper's foot. Right? We agree it was on purpose.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, if Messi did that over a lying teammate and everyone went like just in their pants in MLS, but in Europa League when a random kid does it, it's like nobody cares. It's probably gonna get a goal of the week, but it's in Europa League, so it's not as as covered. But yeah, Garabag played very well. It's sad because in the second leg, I don't expect them to play as well. They may push the result till the later second half of the game, but I think Bayern is going to go through because they made those changes. Once they put the words on, once they put on, what's it
I
called?
think Shaka also came on.
Shaka came on and Patrick Schick. The
Yeah.
game changed a bit, but I wouldn't say that they had these moments that were like, oh, how did like it wasn't like Liverpool missing today against City, and they scored with a cross in the 90th minute, which is more of a Kai Havertz goal rather than a Liverpool goal. It's a cross in the box. But yeah, and the first goal from Bayern was from a mistake,
Yeah.
pass back,
From
unlucky,
Leverkusen. Yeah. Very unlucky.
very
And also,
unlucky.
Leverkusen additionally today was at home to Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg were down to 10 men, I think, in the 15th or 20th minute. So they basically chilled the entire day.
Yeah, it's just Garabag doesn't have the legs. They don't have the legs and don't have the competition to run that much. And you can see that by the 65th minute, they were too tired out because of the way they play. And the way they're set up is very modern. It's just that the competition that they play against in their own league is not up to nowhere near to Bayern Leverkusen, an unbeaten team. But for the fact that they drew with them is already deserves more praise than they did more than anyone else in Europe did. It's only 5 teams that drew with them in Europe, so kudos to them. And the way they're set up is the way Liverpool play and the way United want to play. They essentially have a four people or 5 people forwards that press together, or like 4 people that press, one person that cuts the ball in the midfield and catches any mistraced pass from the pressing, and then 4 people who defend. And they matched Bayern one-on-one, played an amazing game, great spectacle. Not a great ending there, but I'm going to look forward to the second leg on Thursday.
Yeah, I agree. Just to wrap up, we should just quickly do Champions League review and predictions. So I think the games, of course, Bayern beat Lazio 3-0 at home. That was a 3-1 at aggregate. Kind of expected, right? Really, there's nothing special.
You said they're not going to go through. You said they would be drawing.
No, I agree, but after watching most of the game, it just looked like Lazio just don't have the quality this year. Like Bayern, it's not that they were like vintage, but Lazio just didn't show up and got destroyed.
Do you think
I
Bayern
mean,
can
when
go
you
on a run now?
when you have Harry Kane, that's
Cheat code.
he's just so good, man.
So good.
Very
and
good.
the rest of the team has quality. So individual moments of brilliance can carry you through so much.
They scored 8 today or yesterday in the
8-1,
league.
yeah. Against
8-1.
Mainz. Again, it's such a weak league, and Mainz was terrible. Honestly, terrible. But again, Harry Kane, individual brilliance, just killed them. Like, each one of the goals was individual brilliance.
Do you think now they can go on the run? Do you still think, do you believe in them now? Because you were the one.
No.
We said that he's going to squeak through when it went 3-0.
We said that he was going to squeak through against a Lazio team. I think once he comes up against a real team with real structure and real quality, where the individual brilliance can't overcome, I think they're not going to. Like, if they meet basically any of the teams
I don't know, man. Like, Champions League is a competition where just not the best teams can often go to the final or even win it.
I mean, let's go through the rest of the teams quickly. So PSG beat Sociedad away and passed 4-1 on aggregate.
Yeah. I don't think PSG is better than Bayern. Like, they have Mbappe, but
that's true.
I think PSG is gonna go through Bayern if they play against you. I think PSG is a much more solid team as a unit than is
especially
Bayern,
this year. Like that with the kids in the midfield, the defense being restructured.
It's not given.
It's not given, but at least it's closer. Okay, then the next game was Madrid drew 1-1 at home to Leipzig and passed 2-1 on aggregate. And this was not a vintage Madrid, but they just did just enough because Leipzig should have absolutely won this game, but the Madrid did Madrid things.
Madrid has they have this like Holy Spirit or whatever they have in the Champions League.
The Champions League,
they just like something happens and they go through. Like, it's been like that. They won it 12 times. They won it 7 times in the past 10 years or 12 years, and out of those 7, 5 times it was like, how the fuck are they through? It's like Benzema just showed up under the ground and scored a goal. That's like, why is nobody tracking him? Where is he coming from?
Going back to your question, Big Lev, Madrid would beat Bayern, right? Just quickly.
No, like they couldn't even beat fucking RB Leipzig. So,
but I think they didn't.
Look, they would. So what I'm saying, it's not a given that they would beat them.
Fair
I think it will be a good matchup.
Okay,
so I don't think anything is given. I don't think anything is given in the Champions League, but for shits and giggles.
No, but like for example, Inter or City if they play Bayern, then they're clear favorites. I don't think Madrid right now is a clear favorite against Bayern.
Okay, and so just quickly touching
And
on
it's not a slight against Madrid. Like they're still a great team, but I won't view them as clear favorites.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
So just quickly touching on the rest, City beat Copenhagen 3-1 at home. Let's just pretend like that
Shocker.
didn't happen. Yeah, exactly. And so the upcoming games, and let's just quickly do this relatively quickly. So Arsenal is at home to Porto. Porto has a 1-goal lead. Thoughts?
I have Arsenal winning and going through. I'd be shocked if they don't go through. That would be complete failure.
Let's see the contrarian. What do you think, KG?
I think it's going to be a tighter game than you expect it's going to be.
Fair enough. And what's the prediction?
I think Arsenal will squeak through, but I also think that Porto's gonna score.
Interesting. I mean, we all know Porto's going to shithouse like never seen before with Pepe leading the shithousery, right? It's going to be one of the lowest games, like in terms of minutes played. It's going to be constant fouls, ticky
I
tack,
know
and bullshit.
you said that Arsenal's going to destroy them and score. I think the first 20 minutes are going to show how the game is going to go. So if
Agreed.
Arsenal score within the first 20 minutes, Porto, I think, is going to fold because they'll need to go get a goal and all of that. But if they don't concede within the first 20, 30 minutes, that game is going to go on its head. Porto's going to be doing shit. They're going to get a goal, and I think Arsenal maybe is going to score two. They're going to squeak. It depends on how the first 20 minutes go. Essentially, I cannot say. It's
I
just
agree.
my point is that I cannot openly say and I cannot openly see Arsenal are going to dismantle Porto 5-0. I just don't see that.
Listen, I completely agree with you. And with regards to the first 20 minutes, I think the tempo will be, or the theme will be set by the ref. If the ref allows shithousery from the first minutes, then you're right. I think it's going to be a tough game. But if the ref doesn't allow like the typical Porto BS, then I think Arsenal will get through. Quite quickly. So then Barcelona at home to Napoli. It's tied 1-1. Barcelona is kind of doing okay, being saved by Yamin Lamal as usual, their 16-year-old prodigy, and Napoli seems to be having a resurgence. Overall predictions?
Napoli will go through, bro. I have my boy Quara scoring again. He's been on fire recently. Scored this week. He scored in the last week. He's up to 10 goals now in Serie A. So between him and Osimhen, they provide a lot of danger. And Barca has been very shaky. So if you're looking at an upset, there's your upset.
I don't think it's going to be
KG?
an upset. I think Napoli is going to go through. It's not an upset in my book. Barcelona is just
Terrible.
shit.
I think really the biggest thing will be who plays for left back for Napoli, because you have to stop Yamin Laman, because he is.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're saying this about a 16-year-old, but he is the danger man. Right? He's been single-handedly carrying them. But I agree with you. I think Napoli is going to win this.
He's the next Ansu Fati, who's going to start on the bench from Brighton. Like Barcelona's 16-year-olds, what? Name me. There's 10. There's been 10 in the past 5-7 years that they bring in Ansu Fati. There was another one. Just Ansu Fati is the one I remember because he plays at Brighton and I see him all the time. There were countless others.
I mean, it's Pedri and Gavi are the other ones.
And there was another one. But something happened. 100%. 100%. And Barcelona was
they overplay them and then they run them to ground and then they have
Yes.
nothing left, right? Ansu Fati has no knees left, essentially, like literally no cartilage left in his knees. And just quickly to touch on the last two games, Dortmund at home to PSV, it's tied 1-1. Honestly, Dortmund.
Your boy Jaden scored this weekend.
Oh, terrible! I don't mention his name. But it's a coin flip, right? Like I have no idea who could possibly. Dortmund could show up, could not show up. You never know.
Dortmund needs to go through on class, although PSV is having a really great season in Eredivisie. They're scoring they're conceding with 10 goals in the whole league. And in Eredivisie, where it's a pretty open league and there's a lot of goals scored there. Eredivisie is I think the difference between by the time you accept the ball and turn around and make a pass, Eredivisie, a player has 5 seconds, and in the Premier League that's 1.5 seconds. So in that league they scored 3 against them. I wouldn't be surprised if PSV goes through. It's not going to be a shocker to me just because Barus is so daft this season. But on the point of that, Bundesliga at home, their fans, that should edge them through.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And then I think saving the best possible game, of course not my personal favorite, but the best game I think in terms of football will be Atletico Madrid at home to Inter Milan. Inter have a 1-goal lead. This, I think, is going to be the game of the week in terms of all the European competitions. Thoughts on predictions?
No, I think that game will suck, bro. I think Atletico will bet on scoring from set piece or something, and they're just gonna be rough and chop people's legs off and shit like that. And Inter, they'll probably still attack, but they don't really have a need to attack. What they want to do is catch Atletico on a counter, because you don't want to attack a stacked Atletico line. That has a good possibility of actually being a snooze fest
Interesting.
in
Okay,
my
I
book.
think the biggest thing is I don't know if Turam is injured or not, because I think that will make or break a lot of things. Because he's just that good. KG, thoughts on this game?
I think it's gonna be. I don't know. I think Inter's gonna go through. That's the only thing that I know because they have that one goal lead, and it's gonna be very tactical and defensive tactical. It's not the beauty of Liverpool versus Man City. It's more of a beauty of Jose Mourinho versus Jose Mourinho. But Inter Milan doesn't have Arnautovic as well. So, because he got a hammy injury in the game versus whoever they were playing against, Bologna away 1-0. So, I think
I think
Inter's gonna
it's
go through.
pronounced Bologna.
Sorry, Mr. American. I forgot that you're playing the actor from what's it called? The character from what was the Tarantino movie when Brad Pitt is speaking Italian?
Ah, yeah,
Oh my
Glorious
goodness.
Bastard.
Yes, that's exactly the baloney.
Ay, ay.
Buongiorno.
Ciao. I think that's probably a good place to end for the
Stats,
week.
stats, stats for PSV. Goals scored 80, goals conceded 13. That's their stats for the season.
Unbelievable. And they're about to get destroyed at home by Dortmund.
The new foreign takes segment is going to be foreign takes parlays. Three of us are going to set up an account. I mean, the two of you, and then we're going to figure out what we're seeing, what we're going to
Yeah.
betting on. But it's
And we're
just
gonna
before
track those up and down so much and see who's the genius betting guru. Obviously,
Genius footballing guru.
this is not a endorsement of betting and
Unless we
recommendation.
get sponsored, of
So
course.
don't come at me and be like, oh, you made me lose my house. Now my wife hates me. Hey, I didn't make you do anything.
You chose to do it. And
Yeah.
on that note, we'll see you next week.
All right.
yeah, peace.
Peace.